Hey everyone, this is Fine from Tech Gaming Villa. I hope you all are well. Today I'm going to talk about the TCL QM8 TV, which is a very good mini LED TV. The TCL QM8 isn't as sleek as high-end Samsung, but I preferred its look and feel to that of the hygiene. The first thing I appreciate is the central pedestal stand, which I like better than the two legs to either side look. TCL gives you two different height choices with the stand as well, so you can better fit a soundbar below the screen. If you'd like, you should note that unlike the LG C3 OLED, this TV is quite heavy as usual for an LED LCD with a complex backlight. The remote is a long, thin wand that looks nicer than you will see on most budget TVs, and I appreciated the backlit keys. That said, it suffers from a level of button clutter that makes it more confusing than Samsung or Roku TV clickers. There are two different menu buttons, one gear-shaped and another hamburger, a dedicated profile key for some reason, and no fewer than 7 shortcut keys to streaming services, including the TCL channel that I had to Google just now to find out what it was. If you are new in my channel, then please subscribe and press the bell icon for future notifications and upcoming videos. I have another channel named Awesome Tech Gaming Pro, where I upload similar kind of tech videos like TV comparison, sound system, home theater, graphics card. You can check and subscribe. The Google TV operating system is good. It just isn't as good as Roku, and up until 2023. TCL has been using Roku TV in its flagship mini LED models like the 6 series. The company made the switch to Google in the QM8 and other 2023 sets to have more control over features and updates. According to a TCL, Google TV offers excellent voice results thanks to Google Assistant, along with well-implemented Kids Profile mode and parental controls, tight integration, and Google Apps, and more apps overall than proprietary systems like Samsung and LG, thanks to the Google Play Store. Roku is simpler to use in my experience. The TCL QM8 Google TV system, the responses were quick enough, just as speedy as on the Hygiene U8K. As usual with Google, I didn't love the large chunk of space at the top devoted to promotions of shows and movies on various services. I also wish the continue watching row was higher up rather than placed below the top picks for you and apps rows. There were lots of suggestions across various apps, but still plenty of content I didn't care about. Ultimately, TCL's choice of Google over Roku isn't a deal breaker, in part because there's an easy and inexpensive solution. If you want to use Roku's system on the QM8 anyway, just attach a Roku streaming device and use it instead of Google TV. The big difference between the TCL QM8 and the cheaper LCD-based TVs is its mini LED backlight. Mini LEDs are smaller than the standard LEDs, allowing them to be grouped into more local dimming zones. Full array local dimming in turn is the best way to improve picture quality on LCD TVs. It allows the screen to dim and brighten different areas simultaneously. Smaller areas or more dimming zones mean more precise illumination, which ultimately increases contrast, the most important ingredient in a good picture, but they are not the only factor. The TCL QM8 has a true 120 Hz refresh rate, which leads to better motion performance than 60 Hz TVs. Like most TVs in its class today, the 6 series uses quantum dots that help improve color compared with a non-QD equipped TVs. And of course, it supports both Dolby Vision and HD10 high dynamic range formats. These days, basically the only manufacturer that doesn't is Samsung. The QM8 also adds Dolby Vision IQ, which works with an ambient light sensor to automatically adjust the picture. The biggest step up in connections compared with the earlier TCL 6 series Roku TVs is the ability to accept 4K 120 Hz input signals from an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5. For example, the TV is actually capable of 144 Hz input according to TCL, but that extra bit of refresh isn't a big deal in my book and is available only on select PC cards. Other gaming extras are powered for the mid-range TV cores, namely VRR or variable refresh rate and ALLM. One of the inputs also supports ER. One more feature to file, and not a big deal, is the QM8's lack of built-in ATSC 3.0 over-the-air tuner for next-gen TV broadcasts, something found on competing TVs, including the Hisense U8K. Those broadcasts are taking a while to actually arrive, and once they do, you will be able to attach an external tuner to watch them if you want. Let's talk about the TCL QM8 picture quality. This TV's picture quality is incredibly good. In Netflix and other movies, watching the excellent the Cosmos documentary revealed its superb contrast once again. Its black level and shadow detail were secondly only the LG C3 OLED with minimal glooming and a step darker than the Hisense or more visible punch. The shots of deep space, stars and planets looked nearly as impressive as an OLED, and scenes of the dark jungle were rich with detail and life. The brightness was also better once again. TCL has improved some of its gaming features, though the QM8's level of extras isn't quite as comprehensive as what you find with Samsung or LG in the settings menu. There's something called Game Master that turns on VRR and auto low lag mode and allows access to a game bar and 3 different gaming specific picture modes. The game bar accessible by holding down the 3-line menu button under the home key on the remote. The game bar shows current gaming status including real-time frames per second, HDR and other features, and allows you to switch between the 3 modes. Playing Starfield, I preferred the look of the original mode to the other 2, both of which looked very blue and unnatural. A toggle for shadow enhancement with 4 levels exposed progressively for shadow detail. Viewers playing dark shooters might prefer that, but to my eye, it just washed out to the already pale-looking game even more. As with some TVs, you can even add a crosshair and adjust the style. As expected, the TCL checked all the boxes on Xbox Series X compatibility menu, including Dolby Vision for gaming. Input lag in HDR was excellent at 13.9 milliseconds. For some reason, the device didn't register in HDR, so I didn't test lag there. Comparing the game mode image quality between the Hisense TCL and LG C3, the story was similar to what I saw with TV and movies. The LG C3 looked the best overall when I played Starfield, and the TCL had the brightness advantage, but the image of the Hisense looked a bit more balanced to my eye, with more natural color than did the TCL's. Overall, however, I prefer the more dynamic picture of the TCL over the Hisense for games in side-by-side comparison. With its prodigious light output, the TCL QM8 is superb bright room performer as well. It's one of the brightest TVs and only fell short of the Samsung QM90B because the Samsung cheats by not being able to sustain its brightness over time. I appreciated that for HDR, the TCL's most accurate picture modes are also its brightest. With HDR sources aside from games, I would recommend simply leaving the TV in either one of those modes regardless of lighting condition. For HDR, the brightest mode is Sports, but it's not very accurate. Fortunately, movies is still plenty bright for just about any lighting condition and quite accurate. The TV's screen finish did a fine job handling reflections above as well as the Hisense U8K, but it didn't preserve dark areas as well as the LG C3. The most accurate picture mode for HDR was IMAX. Both were slightly red in grayscale and didn't follow the EOTF as closely as some competitors, but the advanced color tests, color message HDR and color checker still qualified as good in the geek box. You should note that only movie allows you to tweak things like brightness and color. For HDR mode, movie was the best, but in its default settings, it was still relatively inaccurate, so you should tweak it slightly to achieve a better image. Those tweaks are reflected in the results. So, well, this TCL QM8 is a very good TV. We definitely enjoy the gameplay on this TV. The other brands like Sony and Samsung are a bit expensive. So I recommend this TCL QM8 overall. So what's your thought about this TV? Please write in the comments below. That's it from now.